you guys? This is Dr. T with Movement RX. It is midweek mobility. We have a special guest this week, Max Conserva. He's coming all the way down for the Challenge Athlete Foundation triathlon. And we want to talk about adaptive strength and what CrossFit has kind of done for him. So, Max?
Hey guys. I've known Teresa for quite a while, and she asked me down here to talk about some of the issues I've dealt with specifically with my injury. So I have what's called a salvaged limb. It's not a prosthetic, but it's basically a limb that wasn't bad enough to amputate, but has many severe and complex problems. Some of the things I deal with that are complicated in all the sports I play is I have a fixed ankle, so I have no ankle mobility, and I have a very unstable knee. The more I bend it, the more it wants to buckle and move in awkward ways. And I actually found CrossFit a couple years ago, and it's made a huge impact on my life in terms of being able to recognize my disability in the context of the rest of my body. And Teresa and I have talked many times about the benefits an adaptive athlete, somebody working with some compensations, can have for CrossFit. And specifically, the reason I think it's so great and that I found I got so much out of it is because it really forces you to recognize where you're making compensations. I think CrossFit in general is all about trying to find these correct movement patterns and recognizing where you're off from the ideal. And I think anybody with a adaptation or compensation is going to be that much further off the ideal. And when recognizing that, and the flip way to look at that is we have a lot more to gain from it. And that's what I really have loved about CrossFit from square one. And so right away I began to see tremendous gains from hardly being able to air squat to squatting 200, 300 pounds just through recognizing basic compensations that in some cases had nothing to do with my disability, and in other cases learning the correct movement patterns to steer clear of where I could in terms of my weaknesses.
Yeah, so you do triathlons, right? What other sports do you do?
That's bold.
Okay.
I'm dabbling in triathlons,
Dabbling.
but I spend most of my time snowboarding, playing tennis, CrossFit, and then...
So nothing extreme, really?
No.
Nothing extreme.
No.
So do you feel like CrossFit in general kind of exposes you to movement patterns that kind of help you with those other sports?
Absolutely. It rewrote the way I looked at my body moving. So I learned kind of a language that began to translate to every other sport I did. So when I played tennis and I'd be crouching down waiting for a serve, I recognized that movement pattern. And I think the great place about it was coming into CrossFit, I was able to test out those movement patterns in a safe environment. I was purposely trying to get myself to the failure point where I was in a controlled, very methodical method, as opposed to being out on the tennis court or worse, just living life and bending over to pick something up. I was causing the failures where I'd be able to recognize them and correct them.
Awesome. So the major things that we're dealing with in terms of function of your leg is kind of knee instability, correct? Knee instability, due to the musculature, the leg tension is off. You don't have some of the muscles that you had before, right, from the accident, and ankle not moving. So those are the two main things as we move forward with some of these videos that we'll kind of address. And some of you will be able to relate to what Max is dealing with. So stay tuned. This guy is legit. We are very honored to have him down here. Yes. And stay tuned. We got some videos coming up. Thanks, guys.